First of all, you don't know me.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.
You guys, we needed this episode so bad. Welcome.
Oh, hey.
Season 4.
I loved this episode.
So good.
Episode 13, Pictures of You. I wish we had all these pictures. How come we never got copies of these?
I know.
Somebody send us some presents, damn it. All right, give them the synopsis. Give them the rundown, ladies.
Okay, kids, this episode aired originally February 7th, 2007. A class assignment reveals the deepest secrets and desires of Luke and the students at Tree Hill High. Worried about college prospects, Antoine turns to Haley, while Nathan wrestles with Deb's suicide attempt. Chase learns that Brooke cheated on her calculus exam, while nudity and drugs run rampant in the halls of the school.
Surprise, surprise.
I don't know what it is. Like the last couple of weeks, these synopsi, is that the plural?
Synopses.
I don't like them. I'm like, I feel that these are undercutting the importance of an episode like this. I don't know.
Yes,
Whatever.
but it has to be titillating to get your attention.
Perhaps.
So much more that happened in this episode. This episode is a testimony to how teenagers talking about their feelings and just having conversations is great TV. It's still
my God,
really
you're
interesting.
Right. Like nothing happened.
Nothing happens.
happened.
Guys, it's one class.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the cool thing, you know, when you edit your hour of television for network with commercial breaks, it's 43 minutes. And the teacher
That's
at
a
the
class
beginning, John Capellas, the custodian from the Breakfast Club, iconic get for us, says you've got 45 minutes. And it's so cool to have an episode actually take place in the length of time of the episode.
Love it.
I mean, we could have made this show run forever if every episode was just like a class period. Like the whole season
like
is
24.
Just like, yeah. The whole season's just like a couple of days. No big deal.
We would have been so old by the time senior year.
Oh my God. Senior year would have been seasons 1 through 10.
Yeah, fine.
Good God.
To your point, Soph, that John was a big get. Huge get. Because we all grew up watching The Breakfast Club and John Hughes movies.
Yes.
Yeah. And Seinfeld.
What is your favorite John Hughes movie? Because that was, you know, for the kids that watch our show on streaming right now, and they watch our show as kind of this like retro, you know, throwback thing. For us, it was John Hughes movies. Like I watched them obsessively in high school, to the point that I joined the John Cryer fan club in high school because I loved Ducky so much from Pretty in Pink.
Yes.
I didn't watch John Hughes movies growing up. For me, it was, that was like a few years before my time. And so I just was watching, I was either watching like really old, like Turner Classic movies, which is kind of, I think, probably where your retro love for John Hughes movies came into, because we all loved stuff that was older. But I don't remember what I was watching. I didn't start watching John Hughes movies until I was in my 20s and was like, wait, what did I miss?
What did I miss?
I loved them so much. And I got into, interestingly enough, this season of the show, I was watching Breakfast Club on repeat, and Bevon and I were living together in LA. She was my roommate in LA. She was coming back and forth because she was starting to audition for other stuff because she was doing so well on our show. And I will just never forget, there was like a holiday break. I think it was when I was going home for Thanksgiving, and I had the flu. And I got home and just crawled on my couch and turned on the Breakfast Club. My mom brought me soup, and I was like, I'm miserable, but this is also my best day. And I watched the Breakfast Club twice. Just like back to front. And I was like, play it again.
So good. My favorite one was Curly Sue, though. If I had to pick, like, I think that's just because that was the one that he made during our actual era. Everything else was made
That was a
before
John
our
Hughes
time.
movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I totally didn't even know that.
I've never seen that one.
Curly Sue with Kelly Lynch?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Jim Belushi and Kelly Lynch. And some little
Okay,
So
great.
good. She's this little orphan, like a con artist. It's great.
Okay.
Dude, watching John Hughes movies as an adult with my preteen child has been an eye-opener because like you, Sophia, it's all warm and fuzzy. It's like, these movies are my childhood. I love them so much. And then you sit down and you watch, Pretty in Pink with a little boy. And he's like,
or The Breakfast Club.
He's like, this movie's disgusting. The way they objectify this girl and the fact that she picks that rich asshole over Ducky. Like, my child was mad. He, like 3/4 of the way through the movie, he's like, I love this. Last quarter, he's like, this is stupid. I hate it. I watched The Breakfast Club with him at the beginning of the school year because I thought it would be a cool way to kick off middle school, like 7th grade. Wrong. He was so grossed out by everything that they did to Molly Ringwald, and then the bad makeover they gave Ali Sheedy at the end, where they took her from being the weirdo and made her look like a middle-aged grandma by like frosting her makeup. And so it's kind of strange to look at this episode, which is so deeply based on The Breakfast Club. And I think this one holds up. It's not quite as gross.
It's not. And I will say, I think what's interesting is you realize that as every decade passes, you look back on your warm and fuzzies and you go, oof, that didn't age great. Okay. Nope. But I think the overarching idea, to Joy's point, is that kids talking about their feelings, trying to find their way. However flawed those movies look to us now, however flawed certain episodes of our show look to us now. I mean, God, Joy, we had a field day with last week's episode. We were just like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh my God, I know.
And then this comes, we missed you. We were just like, this is scary. But then you get to an episode like this, and it's like, this is the best of what it can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of these kids trying to find their place, trying to do their best, trying to figure out, who they are when no one's looking and what they can say when barely anyone is around. Like, it's beautiful.
I mean, maybe that's what's fixing it. Maybe that's what's fixing it is teenagers sitting around talking about their feelings, because The Breakfast Club, which took place in the 80s, is talking about how they cannot relate to their parents who grew up in the 60s and 70s. And then our show is taking place in the early 2000s, talking about how we don't understand the grown-ups in the world around us that existed in the 80s. And so maybe this new incarnation of teenagers sitting around talking about what nightmares we are and dissecting shows like ours is incredibly helpful, because with each generation of teenagers that come through, hopefully the conversation is getting more honest and like making everyone more empathetic to each other.
That was a huge, probably the overarching theme of this episode is empathy, because it made me, that moment at the end when Lucas walked up to Glenda's car, it really got me. It made me emotional.
Me too.
Just being able to put yourself in the shoes of someone who you don't normally spend time with or whose eyes you don't normally look through. There was something so beautiful about that. And I hope that it seemed like at the end of this episode, if I was a teenager and watching this, it would make me want to go to school the next day and reach across to somebody that was really different from me, who I didn't normally interact with.
It's such a cool idea for an assignment. The icebreaker of it all makes that possible. And I loved Lucas and Glenda. I loved it. And by the way, there was a moment where I was thinking, these are the scenes I wanted to see last week between Lucas and Peyton.
Yes. Girl, can I tell you how jealous I was? I'm like, look how much fun they're having just talking to each other. It looks so nice.
It was such a good storyline. And the way they bridge that divide as these two characters. And you see, from the Jimmy Edwards episode in season 3, who she is becoming and the way she is kind of hiding herself. And at first she says that that's out of anger and dismissal, and then she admits it's a little out of fear. And I don't know, there's something in the way that they're able to open up to each other, maybe because, I think we said this a few episodes ago, maybe it's a little lower stakes when it's someone who doesn't know you as well. But oh man, I loved it. And highlight, we finally got Lucas as a goth.
I mean,
I
We've
know.
been begging for this for weeks and we got it.
We were the lead up to it was seeing all the makeup on the ground, and I'm like, yes, hold on it. And it was like a split second. I needed to live in like deep eyeliner, Lucas, for more than a split second.
Definitely, I wanted more.
I wanted like the nail polish and the eyeliner. I could have done without like whatever they put in his hair, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not the department head. It's not my job.
Amber Wallace deserves a huge shout out because she really did such a great job carrying this her portion of this episode.
Yeah.
To come in as a recurring guest star, she was not a part of our normal family. And so to be able to have her come in and carry that weight on 100% level playing field with everybody else was really impressive. I thought she was so understated and honest in her performance. And she brought out the best in Chad too.
Yeah.
He did such a nice job. You could tell that he really trusted her. And that's unusual for a lead in a series with a guest star that comes in, because we have so many people that rotate through. It can feel hard to fully trust an actor who you don't know very well when you get a constant rotation of people. And it's a real testimony to her abilities. So I just wanted to give her a shout out because she's great.
Absolutely. And they had such good chemistry.
Yeah.
And I love, again, this notion that it's so important to talk and get vulnerable to figure out where you are on your journey. I love seeing chemistry between two characters like these that isn't laced with sexual tension.
Yeah.
Because so much of it is. And it's like, oh God, I want more of this. I want more scenes like this.
Yeah. Beyond their sexuality. People are interesting.
Yeah.
What's so funny though, the boys get to do that all the time. Like Lucas had his friend, that girl he met out on the basketball court. He and Daniela got to have like a platonic thing once she was like, we're not working out. Peyton and Lucas were platonic for a very long time. And he's platonic here. He's platonic with Haley. Like he gets to do that all the time. And Nathan also gets to do that a lot of the time. But for characters like Brooke, or not really, Peyton's a nightmare. But for like Brooke and Rachel and the other girls, Mouth is the only one they're platonic with, and literally everyone else is like just laced with innuendo. And I wish that everyone had gotten those platonic relationships because of the things that I've maintained from my high school experience. I mean, you guys know I'm friends with all my friends from high school, and it's because we were all like pals and grew up together. And I don't know, I wish the girls had more opportunity to lean into that.
I do too.
You're not going to have to kiss everybody.
And you know what I like about you bringing that up is that in a way, that's what Shelley is talking about in this episode. Liz's whole storyline revolves around Shelley saying, I don't know why I have to either be a radical virgin or a slut. I'm just a girl. Yeah. And I like boys, and I'm nerdy, and I'm excitable, and sometimes I feel awkward, and that's the truth. Like there seemed to be this really kind of extreme spectrum for all the girls. It was like you wanted to sleep with everybody or you slept with nobody, and it's like that's kind of not real.
The point
for anybody.
It's funny that it's so ironic though that they were writing that for her and trying to make that the point, and yet her photo at the end was so sexualized, and so that was something that would belong in Maxim magazine, a photo of a girl with no top on that says teen. You know what I mean? It's so gross.
Listen to what we say. Don't look at what we do. That's kind of the vibe.
I was like, where they nailed the photos with everybody except her. That was the only one I thought, oh, well.
What could have represented that better?
I mean, even if she was just standing in a white t-shirt, like what in the middle of I don't know, what is like a normal sitting at a desk? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. It would have been, I think what would have been really cool, and maybe we just didn't have the capabilities with the tiny Canon elf that we were taking photos on at this era, but I would have loved to have seen if they had split screened it. So if you had given her half of that photo and half of a photo of her in the clean teen shirt and the jeans, and like, I like the idea that she's like, no, I'm both of these things. But to go from, you know me as a clean teen and here's my wild side. I was like, I I kind of feel like the point of her conversation is I run the length of this spectrum, actually, and all girls do.
Well, we have the easy answer.
You know?
She should have been wearing her clean teen shirt, but like cut off the clean part, so it just said teen.
Yeah, with the leather pants.
Duh.
Like both.
So easy.
Exactly.
Cut clean teen into a crop top, since those were a big deal then, because we were all missing the top half of our pants. Lean into the 2007 style and say both and.
Just leave it at teen.
Just teen. Just standing there with a backpack slung over her shoulder by one of the trees on the campus in a teen shirt. Yeah.
It would have been really cool.
Okay, we rewrote it.
Fine.
Good.
In my memory, it's different
They
now.
go awfully far. You know what I did love though, and Joy, you weren't with us last week, but Liz was saying how much she really enjoyed filming that whole sequence with Lee. That the Shelley and Mouse storyline, that despite everything going on behind the scenes, filming with him, she felt really safe and protected, and that scene was really fun. And I love knowing that despite us looking at it and going, okay, they took it real far in the writer's room, that they were able to have like a really great positive experience together is nice to know.
They had great chemistry. I loved that.
That when they're walking out on the edge of the quad and they both have their hands in their pockets and their shoulders are kind of up and they're just walking side by side, but they're not touching,
cute.
but they want to hold hands. Like, that killed me, the way they were mimicking each other's body language. I love these two.
Yeah.
It felt like doing theater this episode because we all would work like 2 or 3 days with just our person, and we got to do longer scenes, and it really felt like scene study with just one partner. And we didn't get to do that very often. Normally our world is so like, there's 800 extras and you're on the quad and it's chaotic. And the fact that we all just got to do scene work was
You're
a nice
absolutely
relief.
right. That, in fact, you could take that entire episode and put it on stage.
Yeah.
Different vignettes in different areas. And it would live on its own. It could totally live on its own. You don't need to know any of the characters because they say everybody explains everything about themselves to each other. So the whole episode lives on its own as a play, even if you don't know any of the characters.
Like, Joy,
Done.
we have to do this
Let's
at
do
a
it.
high school somewhere.
We should.
We have
Somewhere
to.
in America. What's our new honey grove?
Also, I love that you're like, let's do it at a high school. And I'm like, let's take it to Broadway. I'm like, I actually think this would be like incredible.
Let's talk about our characters. I loved Sophia watching Brooke be honest and vulnerable and not getting anything out of it. Like I don't know that she normally does. That's not like a comparison, but it was just nice to see someone do that. But she was just so real and honest with him, and at the risk of losing something that she did really like this guy. I mean, okay, it had been like a day, but she's like, how long does she know him? Like 3 days.
Yeah.
But for her, those emotions felt really big, and it's so scary every time you get a new opportunity. It's scary to risk it.
And something I loved about it is that it's really the first time that you begin to understand more about her inner life. And it's such a great scene because this is true for so many people. Chase, when she admits that she feels like she's not enough. And I said this while we were watching. I said, it's the only time I'm glad that the boss like betrayed my trust, because that was a conversation that we had. And I remember getting the script and feeling so, I just felt like naked.
What was the conversation? What were you just talking about? How you felt that way growing up or something, or what?
To take our sort of most personal stories and then would use them in the show. And for me, it had been so hard, and it had been long before this to admit feeling that way. And to then see it come around in a script, I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, without getting a phone call of like, hey, that was really inspiring to me. I feel like we could really use that with Brooke, and a lot of girls will be touched by this, blah, blah, blah.
We'll relate to this. whatever.
Yeah,
There
no.
was no warning. And especially now we're at the point where we knew we couldn't trust our boss. So it's like, oh God, I shared something with you before I knew I couldn't trust you. And now you're using it against me.
Yeah.
But it's truly the only time I will ever say, I'm so happy my confidence was betrayed because this is such a powerful moment.
Yeah.
And what I love seeing about it is that as she admits this, Chase is like, what are you talking about? And he lists all of the accomplishments that everyone on the outside sees.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets to say, without saying it, that's performance. I'm expected to be perfect in my house, and it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about me. Nobody calls me. Nobody supports me. Nobody asks me if I'm okay. So I show up and I do my best, and it doesn't matter. And it's such a beautiful representation of, you know, the old adage, like money doesn't buy happiness. Success doesn't buy happiness. You never know what's really going on with someone. So be kind. And to have this girl explain that to everyone else, what makes her look like a success story is just like weight on her shoulders, and she feels small. Oh, I loved it. I loved learning that, having to give myself permission to say that as this episode aired and the mail started coming in, and it still comes in, and people send that photo over and over and over again, and they say, this is how I feel. It's such a universal truth.
Is so iconic. It's like generationally iconic. It's one of those photos that anywhere you are, if you see that, you know exactly what that is and what that moment is and what that represents. It was really exciting to see that come to life because I
so much.
I don't know. I feel like I did watch this episode, but it's been 15 years for sure.
I liked Brooke's level of embarrassment. Do you know when you've been confronted with some of your own bullshit and you have to make the choice of like denying it or admitting it or turning it into a tool? Like, actually, don't be mad at me. You should really feel sorry for me because the reason I lied is this, you know?
Yeah.
Brooke just kind of sits in this puddle of embarrassment in a way where it's like, you know what? I did fuck up. And and you want to know what's worse? Is I fucked up some more. And here's some more stuff that maybe you didn't know about me. And why don't we just get it all out? Like, like to sit in your own embarrassment is a sign of emotional maturity that it took me a minute to like figure out what exactly I was watching. Because when she's sitting in the classroom and she's talking about her parents and all this stuff, I was like, what is this? You know, is Brooke trying to, I couldn't really put my finger on it, but that's what it is. It's embarrassment. It's like, I'm just going to say all the things because if you're already out the door, I don't have to worry about you dumping me again because you've pretty much dumped me earlier today.
But we are still stuck together for the next 45 minutes.
So let's just let it out. Yeah, being embarrassed is like the worst, especially at that age. And yeah, to have someone like see through all your hard work. I worked so hard at this veneer. And this boy's in town for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and he cracks it. And I think there's something really powerful too, you know, for parentified children who grow up being trained to be perfectionists. It's very easy to bolster your image, to tell a little white lie that feels like it's not important.
Yeah.
But to your point, when somebody goes, but you lied to me, and you realize how that makes someone feel, you can see her wheels turning of, oh, I've been pretending to be perfect for so long that I haven't paid attention to what it's cost me. And it's just cost me you. Well, very similarly to Lucas and Glenda, it's like, there's in a deeper way, obviously, for Brooke and Chase, but not much. It's only been a date. It's like, well, I don't know you that well, so I might as well, you know what? Cool. We're here. I'm going to lay it all out. I'm going to practice honesty.
Yeah. It's so good. It's good for the soul. I saw that in Bevon and Rachel too. There was something so honest. First of all, what a great performance Bevon gave at the end.
That scene.
That lead up just getting to that place where she was just patient, just sitting there waiting, letting Rachel spin and act out and do all her craziness. And then finally standing up at the end and being like, all right, it's my turn to talk now. Oh, it was so good.
Beautiful.
But then pivoting right back into pleasantness. It's like,
the snap.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think, and then I'm gonna get back to business because I'm an adult. I'm a professional.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, again, emotional maturity. I can tell you what I think and not throw a temper tantrum about it. And now we're moving on.
You know? That's right. That's right. Isn't that funny that Bevon, who is so sort of seems like wild and fun and kind of ditzy and cute and whatever, and like, oh, she's going to be just fine. But that she actually has a solid head on her shoulders, and she's like got the bird's eye view of things that we used to think Rachel had, but where she can sort of look over all of it and go, all right, this will be over soon. I'll be somewhere else. I'll just if you need to be crazy, I'm happy to sit in the bimbo slot for a little while and let you be. It's actually a super alpha move to just sit back and let the other people spin because they need to and not have to step in all the time.
Well, but don't you find that is kind of exactly what our relationships from our youth are? Like you pick your role and then it doesn't matter how many decades go by, you fall right back into that role. And so if this little group of chicks needs Bevon to play the bimbo, like you said, okay, I can do that. If you need me to play a different part one day, I can. But
right, because it's not actually threatening her identity. Like she knows who she is. So stepping into a role for someone else, to make it easier for someone else to figure out who they are, that's really cool to be able to just go, okay, if that's what you need, or go ahead. I know who I am, so I can float.
Yeah, it requires such a supreme amount of confidence. And it's cool. With all these people in this episode, we're getting to peek behind the curtain. Some are, the initial peeks, and some are these deeper dives into people we think we know really well. And now we're learning about a whole nother level. And it's so amazing with her storyline. We think we know exactly who Bevon is. And then she's like, oh no, there's so much going on in here. But you guys all seem really stressed. So I make jokes and I make you laugh. And like, are you okay? And you just go, oh, like she's lapping everybody else, and you didn't even know.
Bevon is the one person who has parents on our show.
Yeah, probably.
Like she goes home to a mom and a dad and like maybe an older brother or something.
Skills does too, by the way. He just told us Skills has a family. He's fine. He's all right.
All the kids that have parents are fine.
They're doing great.
God. And they're dating each other, by the way. It's like the healthy kids find each other and they're like, we don't want to mess with this other train wreck over here.
Yeah.
We'll just stay together. Speaking of Skills, like you two, magic. You had fun. And it was like you ate up the impression scene. Ate it up.
Oh my God.
Joy had so much fun
doing
at work that
Scarface
day.
with your crutches. So funny.
We had a blast.
Did they give you a list of people to impersonate, or you just like made shit up?
I think they asked me. Well, the Al Pacino thing was there, but then they were like, do you have other impressions? Like, do as many as you can think of. So I did, because I don't know, I did Katie Holmes, and then I think I did a Drew Barrymore that didn't get in, which is so crazy because like I am actually really in love with Drew Barrymore, and I just love doing impressions of her because anyway, but it didn't get in. And then I don't know what the other one was.
The Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Oh, yeah.
But Chad did such a great job with the impressions too. He threw himself fully into those.
Yeah.
He cracked me up.
And it's so funny when Glenda thinks that his Gollum is Elmo. And just like undercuts, because he does such a good impression of it. And and you just see him deflate. And like, obviously it's written, but God, it's so funny.
No, it's good. We got to do stuff that we didn't normally get to do. And I think that's...
Who were you guys impersonating? I didn't catch that.
It was right when...
Borat.
Borat
You guys
came
were doing
out.
Borat.
Oh, Borat.
Yo, I hadn't seen Borat, but James was obsessed with it. And so James was asked, like, who can you impersonate? And he was like, we're doing this. And I'm just like, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Cool. And it was before we had iPhones, so I couldn't like look it up. I didn't know what it was. And I was like, so just tell me what to say and I'll say it exactly the way you want me to say it. That was on James.
It's also cute watching Peyton and Nathan doing the same impression back and forth because it's like sibling energy.
Yeah.
It's so silly and nerdy and sweet. And it's like, it's almost a full circle when we talk about how Lucas and Glenda and Brooke and Chase are able to get really vulnerable with each other because they don't know each other that well yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's an inverse that happens with Peyton and Nathan where it's like you know each other so well, you've seen each other through so many things that you become the only person besides Haley that he tells about his mom. You've settled into this almost sibling-like energy, which can happen with like, you know, the first person you ever fall in love with when you're young.
Yeah.
Years later, you're like, we're bros. Like that's that dork, like, oh my God. And they say the same thing about you. And you guys personify that energy, you know, even when he's trying to be like, we were good. And you're like, we were the fucking worst. Look at my hand. It's broken. Like, it's all so great.
I was trying to figure out that bit too. But it comes full circle because this idea that Nathan is a martyr, he starts off this little experiment by being like, hey, so I carved your initials into these weight plates and like, we were good, right? And it's like he's playing a part. He's like, we got to do this thing together. And I do care about you, Peyton. Like, I know you've been through a lot lately. So I'm going to say this flowery thing. And we've watched Nathan do that all season. Like, I can't commit to a school because my wife's not here. And I'm going to try really hard to be the like good guy with Rachel. And my parents are nightmares. But he's been trying to say all these flowery things because it makes the people he loves feel good. Right? And he tries to do it with Peyton in this episode. And she laughs in his face and is like, cut the shit. Like, no. Yeah. And I think that's what the whole gist is. It's like, I know you're trying to be captain of the team for every situation in your life. You want to be team captain for your wife, for your parents, for your sibling, for your friends.
That's such a good way to put it.
For everybody. Yeah. You don't have to be my team captain, man. I know you're a fuck up. I have the broken knuckle to prove it. You know? And I think we also in our lives feel a lot of pressure to be grand or super present or just like be a lot for everyone. And so I appreciate the Peytons in my life that are like, hey, I know you're a nightmare. Like, stop. You don't have to do this. Put it down. Put it down. Yeah. And so I liked that Peyton got tasked with that message of like,
yeah, like you exist, you matter, you need to take up space.
Yeah. You should have picked the college you wanted to go to, Nathan. Like have a moment. Let it be yours.
You deserve to take care of yourself. And that's a nice message. And it's so cool to see, again, when we think about all of this chemistry we normally don't get to see. We see so much chemistry between Haley and Nathan. The love story and the romance and the thing we've all, loved the whole time. We've seen all the chemistry with Peyton and Lucas that they've pretended to deny for so long. And now we're getting the payoff. Seeing atypical chemistry, Haley and Skills, Peyton and Nathan, like broing out, being confidants for each other, being sweet, but having no sexual tension under it. It's so interesting to watch.
Yeah, it sure is. What do you think, Peyton? That was the one, because Peyton was really servicing Nathan's storyline at a lot, like really, pushing him forward. But I don't feel like we talked about Peyton enough really in this episode, or a lot.
Well, maybe. I loved that.
I guess we've been focused so much on her for
as the
such a long time.
person that has to cry in every episode. I loved her ostrich mentality in this. It's like, oh, you want me to talk about my feelings? Like, here's what's not going to happen. It's like,
I can't whistle.
I don't do it on
I've been
command.
doing.
But also, I think Peyton knew that if she got into her own shit, it would end up being like, not a pissing match between her and Nathan, but there's a level of competition she knows exists between the two of them. It's why their relationship was volatile. Like, oh, your family sucks. Well, my family sucks more. And I like that she acknowledged what he was dealing with his mom. And then rather than let that conversation spiral, as it very well could have, she just changed the subject to whistling. Like, how
Yeah.
do I alleviate this?
Yeah.
You know, we all have to get through the day. Sometimes it's not worth going down that dark path. Like, sometimes we just have to keep it light.
Yeah.
I like that Peyton finally got to do that because historically she's the one that's like, oh, there's something to cry about. Let's go.
Yeah. Dive in.
Let's dig in.
Yeah.
I also like that because she's really been holding space for him to share.
Yeah.
And she's given him that beautiful advice. Don't be haunted like Dan.
Don't be haunted. Messed me up.
That hit me so hard. And I feel like in the face of what he shares about his mom, I like seeing her be a teenage girl that is like, I am not equipped for this. Like, I've given you my deepest advice and now you have so much on your plate. I think the best thing I can do for you is make you laugh. Like,
yeah.
Peyton's not the
It's-
one to
it's
absorb
generous.
that. When he says, I wish that, like,
Yeah.
I was relieved to hear that my mom might die.
Yeah.
Peyton just lost both moms. Like,
both moms.
the girl with 2 dead moms is not the one you tell, like, I wish my
Yeah.
mom was dead.
Yeah.
And so rather than give him like a speech about it, the gift that Peyton gives is like, you know what? We're gonna just put this away.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
She's flipping the pancake. She's just going to turn it right over.
Yeah. Again, emotional maturity. We're
That's
all
right.
exhibiting.
Look at us.
Gracious of her. Very gracious. How many times in your life have you had to do that? When someone says something to you that's just so insensitive and and you just
Constantly.
look them right in the face and you're like, we're going to talk about something else because I don't have it in me.
No,
Yeah.
and especially in our industry where we know it's like 18 hours a day on set, you and me, huh? Okay. Well, I could pick a fight or
Yeah.
I could make a joke. And I'm going to make a joke right now.
You know what? You
Make a
you
joke.
feel it though, because I've been on the other end of that too, where I've said stupid things, and then you see the look wash over someone's face, and then you see them switch the conversation and be really generous with you and still kind, and then just keep moving on. But it sticks in your craw. and you're
it's almost worse.
You're like, oh my god, I feel like such an idiot, and then you carry it and think about it that night and the next day, and
Overthinking.
it's almost better to just be nice and move on, because it'll just keep haunting that person later on.
It's cruel. Had you gotten to work with Antoine much before?
No, and I was so happy we finally got time together. We've got great chemistry together on camera, and we always get along really well. He's just easy to act with, easy to talk with. He's so in the
fun
moment.
to be around.
He is, and when you're acting with him, he really listens. He listens to what you're saying and he responds. And usually his response is some version of the line, but sometimes it's not. And that's what makes it so fun.
It really does. I mean, I love the idea that your scenes together this episode informed past and future, because we can totally visualize elementary school skills and Haley like in the same class with Lucas, like palling around, being dorkos. But we're also getting the foreshadowing of him being a huge influence in Jamie's life.
Yeah.
Both things are accomplished in these scenes that you guys have.
That's right.
And it's so
Uncle
nice
Skills.
to get some of the depth for skills. I love when you get exposition about a character that doesn't feel like exposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of this episode did, which is kind of a miracle.
And there was so much backstory and none of it felt like, and then my parents said to me, you know?
Yeah.
And it was so cool to learn about his fears and his family and his dreams and his real worry that if he didn't get a scholarship, that was kind of it. That was a wrap. That scene made me immediately burst into tears.
Same.
Me too.
When you read that letter,
Yeah, same.
I was like, oh, there it goes.
Yeah,
It was beautiful. And the misdirect was so good. And like him, I'm like literally tearing up again thinking about it. Oh my God.
Him telling you how messed up it is.
Yeah. Him being like, that's dark. Like it was so sweet.
But knowing how much was riding on that for him.
Yeah.
Oh, the weight of that, how that would have felt to really accept, like, okay, It's just not in the cards for me, the dream that I wanted. And Lucas has had a dream too, by the way, the basketball and his, the idea of having to give up one dream and here's the second one. And if this doesn't work out, it's going to be really hard to find a third. Dreams are such a big deal when you're in high school. They are at any point in life, but it seems like they get harder to reach for the older you get. And I liked what this teacher was saying about, you get a chance to reinvent yourself only so many times in life. You're about to go do it right now.
Yeah.
Think about who you are, what your dreams are, what you want to be.
I also really liked the reality check of some of you will feel free when you leave here, and for some of you it will be very hard. That's really nice. And to your point, Hill, like this idea that we're all supposed to just kind of play our role. And how when you're around people you've grown up with, it can be really easy to fall back into those roles. And we talked about this a couple episodes ago about friend breakups. Sometimes when your role changes, people really don't like it.
No.
Yeah.
They don't want you to grow. They don't want you to be different. And then you figure out, is this a moment of growing pains? Like, am I going to go and create new relationships with people that are going to allow me to be this bigger, better version of myself? And it's all represented in this episode without having to specifically say it. And that is my favorite kind of story.
Yeah.
I like the freedom. So many times when we talk about reinventing ourselves, it's about being a louder, more outgoing version of ourselves. And for me, it's been the exact opposite. Like I was a performative young person, and the friendships that I've cultivated as an adult have been ones where I'm allowed to be not the decision maker. And like the passive one and the quiet, the follower. Like I get to be the follower.
Yeah.
And I feel very taken care of in those relationships because it's filling a need that, was void for so long. And so this idea that some of our characters are also doing that. It's like certain characters are going out and being bolder, but then other characters like Lucas is letting Glenda be like the leader in this conversation, be the sharer, be the one that like sets the tone about sharing and things like that. Like I like that he kind of falls into a more passive position. I like that Peyton falls into a more passive position of just like, I'm going to center you here. Let you be center. It's not always about getting out and getting loud and bold and things like that. Sometimes blossoming means like turning inward. And so I like that both sides of that are represented here.
You know what? When you talk about that, how we're centering each other's experiences in new ways, I also really like that this is one of the first times I feel like we've seen Haley grapple with the weight of what it means to be a pregnant teenager.
Yeah.
To say like, I'm excited to meet my son and what's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to my dreams? You say, I wrote it down. You say, I still want to leave my mark on this world. And it's so nice to see her really hold the reality, not just the fantasy. To say, I'm feeling all of these things at the same time and I'm scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful vulnerability.
Yeah, I loved also the sort of the normalization of it, that it's just, this is just real life. Like sometimes girls get pregnant in high school and then they got to deal with if they want to keep their baby, if they, how they're going to handle this.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And not having everybody around her make it a problem. It's just normal. Like everybody's like, okay, Haley's pregnant. Okay.
Yeah.
And she moves on and everybody supports her and it's all good. And I loved that. And I loved seeing her have that kind of system around her with the friends that she's chosen. So now she can really just settle into, okay, what does this mean for me now? It's not a massive torture about, oh my God, I'm a pregnant teenage girl. It's, okay, I'm a pregnant teenage girl. What happens next? What's the next chapter going to hold
what
for
is
me?
my life going to be?
Yeah. What do and there's a fear, but there was an excitement there too, that it's something that is, it's not, when I say normalized, it is out of the norm for most of the population, but in terms of like her just not feeling alone.
That's special.
She doesn't feel alone.
Yeah.
It's special. Yeah.
Well, and by the way, regardless of what age women become mothers, that's the key, right? Is you either have a community that supports you and you're having an incredible experience. Because P.S., we've got enough friends who've done it, you two included. It's hard.
Yeah.
So you either have a support system and you have people who hold you through the hard and who enable the happy to multiply.
Yeah.
Or you feel alone and it is terrifying.
Yes.
And you're right. It's really lovely to see that the people in her life, knowing she's made her decision, are like, how can we support you? What do you need?
Joy, did you feel that way when you were pregnant in real life? I mean, I feel like there's kind of this thing in storytelling in our country, I can't speak to any other countries, where there's this drumbeat of like, if you become pregnant, no matter the age, if you become pregnant, you have to start over, or the trajectory you were on has to pause. And if you can get back on track, there's some catch up work to do. Like I was scared both of my pregnancies, the way that Haley is scared, where it's like, yeah, I'm super pumped I'm having a baby. Also, there's like things that come with that, Hold on. Can we talk about the stomach? Can we talk about the baby
Oh my
padding?
God, Helly's baby pad.
I can't decide if I think that it's our honorable or our dishonorable mention. But like,
I loved it.
Our friends at home, in this gorgeous sequence of scenes with Joy and Antoine, Haley and Skills are up on the roof. They're having this moment. And she's laying down.
Oh, the blocking's so good. The blocking is
all
so good
so
and casual.
And you take a little stretch. And someone in the edit bay didn't zoom in on the screen, which you can do in the edit, people. Like they can go, something, there's a boom in the corner of the shot. Let's zoom in to cut it out. And Joy lifts her arms over her head. And there's the pregnancy belly pad just out
Front and center.
in all its glory.
Yeah.
And not only the like part that goes down around your hips, but the center padding with the stitching around it. Like you see the whole thing down to the stitch lines.
I love it. Was a man. It was a man because he's like, no, she's wearing a tank top. That's a tank top under there.
He's like, that's her shirt. And you're like, that's definitely not what that is.
Oh my God.
That awkward, like not white, not flesh colored, pale
it
yellow.
just looked like Spanx or underwear, but except for the padding, it was just so clearly. Yeah, I'm really surprised nobody caught that.
Like nobody just punched in on the shot.
Yeah. It's because your blocking was so good. Like, Joy, that is one
They
of
were
the
looking
gifts
at
that
your
you
face.
have is that your physicality is not performative. Like, just how to take up space in a scene in a really natural way. And so, of course, you laid down on that big, like, concrete block or whatever the hell you were on and just kind of laid out and you were doing, like, cat stretches, which is what pregnant women do. And they're like, the stretching's too good. Like, we have another take where we can't see the baby pad, but we don't have the stretching in that one. So stick to the
I should have just
stretch.
cropped it out.
Whatever.
Well, okay. Honorable mention to my baby belly pad then.
Baby belly.
Jinx.
Well, we have some listener questions. Well, guys, that went by so fast.
That episode went by so fast.
Yeah.
I want to watch this one again.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, me too. It was so good. All right, our listener question from Brianna. I notice conversations going on in the background with main cast members. Are you all really talking or just moving your mouths? How does it work as being a background extra, especially when it's a main cast member? That's an interesting question. It depends on the day. So you just say watermelon, watermelon, watermelon over and over again, and it looks like you're talking. And then sometimes you're having real conversations with people and you just mouth it and you have it quietly so they can't hear
Yeah,
you.
because you can't make noise.
Yeah.
But that, I think, is part of why when it's us especially, you get great background acting because you're just mouthing to each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes that makes you laugh, but you have to laugh silently and then it makes the other person laugh because you know that you can't make noise. And if you've got 20 background actors who all think they're whispering. They're very loud on the mic. Like the microphones can hear everything.
Yeah.
So especially when it's us in the background, we're really serious about not making noise because we do not want to do another take because we're being irresponsible in the background of somebody else's shot. But I think that can actually make for the best background acting because you're just like, what the are you saying? What is that word?
Yo, I'm going to promise you, I am always talking when I am like extra. If I'm in the background of your scene, I am talking and I delight in it because that's like the one time where people's focus is elsewhere. They're like focused on the people who are actually doing the scene work. And I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do now. Now we're going to tell secrets.
Guess what?
I love being background in scenes like that. And like, I might have more of a sense memory about doing that stuff than about doing the actual scenes. Just sitting in the background being like, these motherfuckers.
Shooting the hey, oh wait, we need to give an honorable mention to Billy, your brother who's in the bathroom with
my
Bevon.
God, with
that was
Bevon.
so funny. I forgot about that.
That was about the time that like Billy had a crush on her. And I think that they threw him that bone just so they could like be in the same scene together. Like, there was a point where I definitely wanted Bevon to date my brother because I was just like, oh, this would be so cool. Christmas would be so fun if we were related. It didn't work out. But yeah, Billy had a crush on her for a while there. And I think that they just thought they were being real cute throwing him in there at the urinal with her.
They gave him a shot. We've got one more question from Liz. She says, if you could play a male character from the show, who would it be and why?
Dan, always. It's because Dan's the guy, he's got the media storyline. It's so fun.
My first instinct was Nathan.
Yeah, I want to play Lucas. Like, I do because a lot of reasons. He got paid the most and and I love money. No, but also I think that Lucas had some really interesting things to do and yeah. And I just want to brood. That's it. Like I can only relate to emo characters.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you want to play him even more emo?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not only would he be like wearing eyeliner, but he'd be wearing like the used t-shirts and, like sad bands. He'd like love Paramore,
Love it.
Paramore. Oh my gosh. What a singer she is though.
Yeah.
Oh, that voice.
We're spinning.
Let's do it.
What do I have this week?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Who's the most likely to move in with you?
I mean, you did have people move in with you.
I always have people move in with me. I just want to live on a commune. I want to live with all my best friends forever.
Bevon lived with you. Who else lived with you?
Bevon lived with me. Daniela was with me like most weekends. Lee was with Bevon and I in LA a lot. Yeah, I love when we were still doing the show.
The whole reason that Jensen and Danielle set me up with Jeffrey is to get me off their couch. Like I had posted up in their LA house and Jensen was like, I only get to see my girlfriend on the weekends. You can't be here.
Go away.
And I did the same thing to Elizabeth Arnois. I have that little sister energy where I'm like, can I come over?
Yeah.
Can I come over?
We're very similar in that way. I feel like I have the big sister energy where everyone moves in with me, but that's my dream come true. Like last weekend, I woke up on a Sunday morning. I'd gone to a friend's birthday the night before. I'd made a plan to get bagels with my friends, and they apparently had gotten up very early and gotten through the line. Because like
there's a line at a bagel place?
Oh, at our favorite bagel store, the lines can be like 2 hours long.
What?
And they had gotten through the line so fast for some weird reason that they were like, well, she hasn't texted yet. We'll just go over. And everybody has a key to my house. So I woke up
to people?
Oh, I woke up to 3 friends sitting in the guest room with coffees and bagels. And 10 minutes after I woke up, 4 more people walked in the door. And I was like, this is the best fucking day of my life. Yeah. This is the best day of my life. Like all my people are here. We're in pajamas. This is all I want.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's all I want. I love it.
Okay, so who from the cast moved in with you? I mean, Bevon.
Yeah, Bevon and I lived together.
Okay. Which character is the most likely to move in with you?
I mean, Brooke also moves in with everyone.
That's true.
She moves in with Lucas. She moves in with Rachel. She
Yeah.
moves in with Haley.
Yeah.
She lived with Peyton for a hot second.
That's true.
So Hilarie in real life, Brooke in fake life.
Yeah, I'll just
Yeah.
anybody who'll take
down.
me, I'll show up. Like a sad little pauper. Well, guys, that was a nice palate cleanser. I really appreciate this episode for its bottle quality. It exists in the middle of nowhere.
Love it.
We want to see a
nothing.
high school production of this episode.
Yeah, man. All right, what do we have next week?
Season 4, episode 14, Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers.
Ooh.
Sounds fun.
Dirty. Okay, guys. I love you. See you next week.
Thanks for joining. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening.
Don't forget to leave us a review. You can also follow us on Instagram at DramaQueensOTH.
Or email us at dramaqueens@iheartradio.com. See you next time.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.